I just got back home and I'm still a bit tired, but it was an amazing experience, an amazing trip with the KTM 790 Adventure. Oh my god! Ah! Woo! Since I got so many questions from you about this bike and about how it compares to the other ones in the market, I'm coming up with this video. What we got over here? Well, we have the Africa Twin, Honda Africa Twin, exactly the same bike I used a couple of months ago in the Pamir Highway. It was the Pamir ride. I was in Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, 3 weeks, 5,000 kilometers. It's been 2 days since I'm riding on the Pamir Highway and it feels overwhelming. And back there is the BMW F850GS, the bike I used in Siberia on the Road of Bones. Well, it's not exactly the same bike because I couldn't find it, but it's the same model. This is the traffic on the Lena Highway.
Как мотоцикл называется?
BMW. BMW. It's not easy. Now this comparison between these three bikes is based on my personal experience. So at some points it's just about my personal taste about this bike. It's not a head-to-head comparison. First, we're gonna talk about the engine, because we have the same type of engine, parallel twin, on each bike, and it's got the same power, 95 horsepower, but the engines are a bit different one from another. I mean, you don't have the same feeling and you don't have the same torque. The KTM, for example, it reminds me of a sports bike. I mean, it revs up pretty fast, but you have to rev it up in order to get the most out of it. You have to be somewhere around 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 RPM, something like that. But below 4,000 RPM, it reminds me of the single cylinders, because you just gotta shift down. You just gotta shift down, otherwise it starts not feeling well. Now the Africa Twin feels completely different because it comes with a bigger engine that feels more torquey than the KTM 790 Adventure. It doesn't matter the RPM range, you can use it at 3,000, 4,000 RPM and it feels like a tractor. I don't know, it feels really good, it doesn't vibe, and it feels somehow more refined than the KTM, but it's not that fun. I might say it's not that fun. It's not that fun to rev it up, and it definitely doesn't feel like a sports bike. The BMW is somewhere in the middle. It comes with more torque than the KTM, but less torque than the Africa Twin, and also it shares the same character with the KTM because you also have to rev it up and it feels very nice. I also noticed some vibes at the KTM and at the BMW. At the KTM there are 5,000, 6,000 RPM, something like that. You can feel them on twisties. On the highway, it's not such a big issue because you can have a different riding position. On the BMW also, 7,000, 8,000 RPM, but it's not gonna happen too often to rev it up that high. Now let's get to the gearbox, because the KTM, it shifts really smooth. The Africa Twin is the DCT one, it's the DCT version, but it's the first generation, so it's not shifting that fast as the second generation, but it's still very good. BMW is not that smooth as the KTM, and when it comes to quick shifters, the KTM is better. It feels better. On the BMW, you have some wrong gears over there when trying to use it, when trying to use this quick shifter. You asked me about the comfort, because everyone testing the KTM is talking about how it's ready to race and about being able to tackle some technical terrain and to go off-road and to ride it fast and to ride it in the rally style, but what about comfort? Because maybe you just want to use it for adventure touring, and most people are using this kind of bikes for touring on street, and only few of them are really taking them off-road. So what about the comfort? Let's start with the most comfortable one. And the most comfortable one is the Africa Twin. I think it's not such a big surprise. I mean, take a look at this large fairing and large windshield. Although it's not adjustable, for me it was perfect on my trip. And yeah, the seat is also very good. The riding position is relaxed. The only annoying thing is that you don't have a cruise control, but the guys at Honda solved it for this year, for the next model. And yeah, the Africa Twin is still the most comfortable one on street. In the middle is the BMW, which is not as comfortable as the Africa Twin because it comes with less weather protection. You can see it. The fairing is not that large. It doesn't feel as bulky as the Africa Twin, but I think it's still a good bike if you want to go touring. And the least comfortable one is the KTM. You can easily see why. Well, there's basically no fairing over there. You have the headlight, you have some wind deflectors, and the fuel tank is somewhere low, so you don't have the same weather protection, and gets really annoying when trying to go on highway with more than 120 kilometers per hour because you got a lot of noise in your helmet. I had to use some earplugs in order to be able to ride it because otherwise it gets really noisy. Although the screen is adjustable, I didn't find any solution to that. So the seat is also not that comfortable as the one on the Africa Twin or as the one on the BMW. It's not that plush, but it's not bad either. Riding these bikes, I discovered some really annoying things, and I'm gonna start with the Africa Twin. Let's suppose you're having a problem with the bike and you need to access the toolkit. Well, the toolkit is not under the seat, it's over here. It's this one, and in order to access it, you need a tool. Why? Why, Honda? Why? And where is that tool? I don't know where is that tool. Another annoying thing at the Honda is that when riding in off-road and putting the traction control, I don't know, on stage 1, for example, okay, and yeah, let's say it's good enough. But after stopping the engine and turning back the engine, the traction control is resetting to the default setting. So on stage number 3, and you have to turn it off again or to change the level again. So I really don't like it because every time I forgot to do it and I was when I was overtaking a car or something like that, the traction control kicked in, and yeah, it's really annoying. It should remain at the same setting when turning off the engine. Now the BMW, to be fair, I cannot find anything to be annoying on this bike. Okay, the fuel tank is a bit small, the quick shifter is not that good, but something annoying, I just cannot find it. And I'm really curious about it, so if you have something annoying about this bike, just let us know in the comments below. Hey, wait a second, because I just found it. Take a look at this one. This is the power socket from the BMW, and you must use an adapter to reach over here and to get some power from this power socket. It's not like using a normal one. You need a special one that fits this BMW thing, and that's really annoying. Now here's a really annoying thing at the KTM. You see, this screen is adjustable, but if you want to adjust it, you need a tool. You can't do it easily by your hand. You need a tool to unscrew this, and I'm gonna check for the toolbox. You have to remove this passenger saddle, and then you have to remove this fairing. Now, this should be the place with the toolbox. And I hope it's this one. Yeah, it should be this one. I need a hand. Okay.
Stop being clumsy. You have everything over here. It's the most complete toolkit.
Okay. No, it's not this one. Told you I'm lazy and I'm not a technical guy. Okay. Okay, so you have two positions for the windshield. This is the lower one, and this is the higher one. So I'm gonna put it on high right now. And I'm gonna screw this one back. Now I hope it's gonna be better with the wind buffeting. Now let's talk about the suspension because it's very important. They all share the same kind of fork. Upside down fork, the KTM is the basic version. It's not the R version, so we don't have that fancy upside down, ready to race, ready to rally, fully adjustable fork. But this one is still good. I mean, for what I did in the Balkans, it was okay. It's good on street, it feels comfortable, it's good enough in off-road. The BMW, that fork feels very good in off-road, but it's not my favorite on street. I mean, it feels too soft, it feels too plush on street, and if you want to go a bit faster, especially in the corners, it feels a bit unstable on the front end. I mean, you have to be really careful when going in a turn, when coming out of the turn. If you have a turn after another, yeah, it's gonna be a bit difficult. You have to pay attention to this thing. And the Africa Twin, it's not the best, it's not the worst, it's somewhere between. It's very comfortable in off-road for me, very good on street. This is the first generation. They came up with an update for the second generation, and for the third one, I don't know because I wasn't able to ride it yet. But yeah, it feels really good. But as I told you, it's not that impressive. Let's talk about the electronics now, because all of them, they're coming with traction control, ABS. The KTM also comes with cornering ABS. My favorites are the BMW and the KTM because you don't feel the traction control intervention. It's very smooth. All you see is that blink in the dashboard and everything's fine, everything's perfect. The KTM comes with a rally mode, which is very nice because on the rally mode you can set up, you can adjust, fine-tune the traction control intervention. There are 9 stages or something like that. I don't care, and it's very simple to do it. You have a switch over there, so it's from 1 to the highest one. 1 is the minimum intervention, and 9 I think is the highest intervention. And it's very easy to use it, and if you're riding in rally style and you see a different surface, you can just tune it up very easy. The Africa Twin, I mean, you still have 3 stages traction control, but the intervention is not that smooth as on the KTM and on the BMW. It's very rough. Whenever the traction control kicks in, it kicks in very rough. You're losing the grip, and you're losing the power, and after that it kicks back in rough, and yeah, I just don't like it. All 3 of them are coming with LED lights, LED units, so you might wonder which one is the best. I think it's the BMW and the KTM. They offer a lot of light during the night without auxiliary lights. The Africa Twin is not my favorite because you have to use the high beam in order to get enough light to be safe while riding during the night. So if you're buying the Africa Twin, you should go for the auxiliary lights because they're doing a great job. The wheels, they have pretty much the same dimension, 21 on front, and the Africa Twin comes with tube type wheels, which are not my favorite because I find it very difficult to repair a tire puncture when on the go, when on the road, especially with dual sport tires. So you should be very well trained in order to do it. You have to get some proper tools. On the BMW and on the KTM you have tubeless tires, and it's really simple. It takes you about, I don't know, 5 maximum 7 minutes to repair a tire puncture in the middle of the road. The good news is that the Africa Twin comes with tubeless tires for the next model, but there's also bad news because the tubeless tires will be available only on the Adventure Sports model. So if you're buying the standard model, you should be aware that it comes with tube type tires. These are touring bikes, long distance bikes, and if you're going to remote places, you might need a good range. So let's talk about the range and the fuel consumption. The KTM comes with 4.3 liters for 100 kilometers. It was my average fuel consumption in the Balkan strip. The Africa Twin, it had about 4.7 as far as I know, and the BMW pretty much the same. But the Africa Twin comes with 19 liters fuel tank. The KTM comes with a 20 liters fuel tank, and the BMW F850GS comes with a 15 liters fuel tank. So the best range is offered by the KTM. You can go up to 450 kilometers with this bike without having to fill up. Then is the Africa Twin, about 400 kilometers, and after that is the BMW, because 15 liter it's not that good, and if choosing this bike you might need some additional fuel. I used them in Siberia and in Central Asia, at least the BMW and the Africa Twin, and I had to put some poor quality gas in the tanks, and I must say that they worked just fine with 80 gas. It's not a problem, so you can go everywhere, you don't have to do anything. On the BMW I did kind of engine remapping. You can do it at the dealer to be sure that it's gonna work with bad quality fuel. But on the Africa Twin I did just nothing. I just went there and put fuel from whatever I found, and it was just okay. And of course we should talk about the off-road part, because these are adventure bikes, so you might want to take them off-road, yeah? Let's start with the Africa Twin, which is a great bike. It has a 21 front. I used it on the Pamir Highway, on the Buakan corridor. In fact, I had 3 days or 4 days, something like that, in Kyrgyzstan, where I had no asphalt at all. I mean, just a gravel road, and it was just fine. But if you want to go through some technical parts, it's not gonna feel that good, because at least for me it feels a bit heavy on the front, and it doesn't come with the perfect ergonomics, and for me it feels harder to maneuver it in off-road in the technical parts. So when talking about off-road, like technical off-road, like I don't know, more than a gravel road, for me the Africa Twin is not my favorite. The BMW, on the other hand, feels better than the Africa Twin. It feels more natural in off-road, and I like it more than the Africa Twin because I think the suspension is better, the ergonomics are better, and for me it's easier to use, and it's also a bit lighter. As for the next one, the KTM is my favorite one. To be honest, it's my favorite one so far in off-road because of the way it's built, because it doesn't come with a bulky fairing, because it has that lower center of gravity, because it comes with this good suspension, because it comes with good ergonomics. Now let's talk about the weight, because it's very important, and I wrote it down because I don't want to make mistakes. The KTM comes with 189 kilos. We're talking about dry weight, no fuel, no liquids. KTM 189 kilos, BMW about 214, and the Africa Twin 212 for the basic version, and 222 this one, the DCT version. So the Africa Twin is the heaviest, then is the BMW, and then is the KTM, which is the lightest of all. All of you asked me about the reliability of these bikes. Well, honestly, I had no problems. I'm always falling in my trips, I'm doing stupid mistakes. The most stupid falls I could get, okay, it was that one with the Africa Twin when I was looking after the drone, and after that I tried to put down my right leg and couldn't manage to do it because the bike was tall and it was very steep. And yeah, I fell down, and the bike is still okay. You can see some scratches over there. I had a minor issue with that case on the right side because it's the plastic case, and the locking mechanism of the case was broken a bit, but nothing too serious. So I just could I just continued my trip with nothing to worry about. With the KTM, it was just a small fall, and that fuel tank, it didn't touch the ground, because I know that all of you are scared about the fuel tank positioned down there. The guys at KTM assured me that it's okay, it's very safe, but I didn't manage to fall to have such a serious fall yet, and hope it's not gonna happen. The bike is really okay, doesn't have a scratch, and with the BMW I fell like 4 times. One in the city, one from the side stand in the front of the hotel, I know, stupid me, and one on the Road of Bones because I was really tired. But nothing broken, everything okay. I suddenly spotted some oil leaking from the KTM on the left side, and I was like, oh my god, I love this bike, I like it. I just don't want to be the one who brings you the bad news that it has technical issues. But the thing is that I was wrong. It wasn't a technical issue. It's not the oil leaking from the engine. It's just the lube for the chain, because when riding it, the chain is spinning and it's overheating. So the lube is transforming to a liquid and goes to the engine, to the left side of the engine. The good thing is that on the BMW you have a tire pressure monitor. It's really the best thing. I remember that a couple of years ago I thought it was useless. Come on, why would you need that? Because if you're having a flat tire, you're gonna notice it. No, it's very important, because when going off-road you should lower your tire pressure. It's offering better grip for you. So on the BMW it was pretty safe. On the Africa Twin, I never checked it out, to be honest, because, as I told you, I'm a lazy guy, so seeing the bike was okay. Yeah, it's okay, it's working. I was just hoping not to have a puncture, and it was okay. On the KTM, I lowered the pressure once because I was in off-road and I wanted to have more grip. But that's it. After that, I put back the pressure in the tire. I have a small foot pump that I always carry with me, and yeah, that's enough. Now let's talk about the luggage system, because it's very important. Take a look at this one, the original Honda luggage system for the Africa Twin. I mean, this is what happened. It's the locking mechanism for the case. So remember this, it's not the case anymore because Honda changed it for the new model. But if you're buying a Honda Africa Twin, don't buy these cases. I mean, it's the worst idea you could ever have. They're not resistant, they're gonna break in the case of the fall. And also, take a look at the opening system. I find it very hard to fit something over here. I mean, honestly, it's the lateral system, and I don't like it that much. These are the plastic cases, the original ones for Honda, but as I told you, the good thing is that the guys at Honda changed them for the next year. So you have plastic luggage, which is different, and also aluminium panniers, which are the best. And I also love this bag for the fuel tank. Is the best size for me, and I found it very useful. This is the original one for Honda. Next, the BMW. We also have some plastic cases over here. So these are the Vario cases. Why Vario? Take a look. Now they are wider. Now they are narrower. So yeah, they're okay. Good plastic cases, better than the ones on the Africa Twin. But my all-time favorites are these ones on the KTM. Take a look at this case. I mean, you can fit everything here, everything, and they're very tough, very solid, very reliable. You can open them like this, okay, or from the back. You can remove this one, a lot of space in here, and it's very easy. Wait a second to feed them. It's also very easy to remove them and to use them if you want to sit next to your bike. So these are my favorite cases, the one on the KTM, but also the BMW comes with a similar system, aluminum panniers. As far as I know, they're made by Touratech. I'm not sure yet, but these ones are Touratech. The one on the BMW is the same. So yeah, if you want to go adventure, and if you're not choosing soft panniers, don't buy the plastic ones, buy these ones made out of aluminum. You also asked me about the navigation system and about the phone holder. Okay, I'm using a smartphone for navigation. I find it easier to use than the classic GPS, and this one is very good. Take a look. This one is made for KTM, is the original one. So basically you just putting your smartphone into this custom case, and after that there's this thing over here, up, and it looks perfect. It's right where it should be, and it's very simple to use, no complicated system. It's very safe. I used it for 3,000 kilometers, 2 weeks or something like that, 3 weeks in fact, and I find it very, very good. I think this is my favorite phone holder, the one on the KTM. The BMW original phone holder is also very cool. I like it a lot. I don't have it right now, but I used it in Siberia. Why I love it? Because it has wireless charging, and it's very cool. For the Africa Twin, I used the extra mount, probably you know about it, and I put it right over here, and it was perfect. That's it for today. Great bikes, all of them, because I traveled with each one of them, and I could do it again with every bike. I could go with this one on the Road of Bones. I could go with the BMW to the Pamir Highway with the Africa Twin. I could go in the Balkans. So I think that all three bikes are up to the job. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see this video and other nice videos coming soon.